and we want to either prove or disprove or explore about that particular research question. So I will take one hypothetical example here. So whether farmers are getting agriculture credit, that is your research question. So if they are getting the agriculture credit, from which source they are getting, which type of farmers are getting the benefit. So you can divide in different ways. For example, you could examine whether the small farmers are getting credit or not, or you could examine by religion, by caste, by education, by age group, different type of questions you can probe. That is basically what you are trying to look at. Then based on the literature and theory, you will have a hypothesis. Hypothesis is kind of your a priori expectation about the research question that you are examining. For example, in our case, you might have a hypothesis that farmers without education depends more on money lenders, which means the formal source of credit is only for those farmers with education, and farmers without education, they may not take much of formal loans and they may depend on money lenders. Then you need to prove or disprove the hypothesis, right? Your hypothesis is a priori. So for that, you have to collect the data based on a sampling design, methodological requirement, research question, resources, all those things will determine how much sample that you collect. For example, you may decide that I will collect data from 250 farmers from particularly one or two districts in a particular state. Okay. Then that collected data needs to be summarized. Okay. So you cannot say, for example, from the 250 farmers, what is the common trend? What are the averages? Okay. What are the distributions? So all those things will give a hint towards the answer to the research question that you had in mind. Okay. For example, in our case, how much about the agriculture credit, you could simply work out the proportion of educated farmers who are getting loan from money lender. Okay. For example, out of 100 uneducated farmers, 75 take the loan from money lender. That is kind of answer. That is a kind of proof to your hypothesis. But this hypothesis needs to be tested statistically. So we say that economics is both science as well as arts, right? So the science part of economics comes from the statistics, because whatever the deviations in the data, whatever the differences in the data, we should be able to make sure that that is the actual difference and not due to the difference in the sampling distribution or any other kind of variation. For that, we need statistical analysis. Okay. For example, in our case, since it is a categorical variable, both education, literate, illiterate is also a categorical variable. Whether he is getting a loan from the formal source is also a categorical variable. We could go for a chi-square test to prove that there is a difference and there is a statistical significance for this association between illiteracy and taking the loan. Then, based on these findings, you can draw conclusions and generalize the findings. But remember, generalizability of findings depends upon your sampling distribution and the methods that we use. So based on that, we write research papers and communicate it to other scientists who are working in the field, also for the policymakers who will be making the decisions regarding that particular issue. So what is the purpose of research? Why we do research? So there are basically two kinds of research, very broadly speaking. One is the basic research, the main purpose of which is to add to the existing literature. And there is applied research. In social science, it is mainly to guide some kind of application or some kind of decision making. For instance, you have examined that agriculture situation in Eastern India. Okay. And also there will be some policymakers who want to know what is the status of formal credit in the region, whether it is effective and what can be changed or what needs to be changed. So you can summarize the findings like only 10% of small farmers having access, only educated farmers have the access, and the money lenders are charging very high interest rates. So if a policymaker reads those findings, then he can think of what can be done to improve the status of agriculture credit in that particular region. So, but If you want to go to the policymaker with your results, first thing is you should have the confidence, and the result should be based on rigorous empirical methods. If you just say collected data from 4 farmers and you want to convey to Modi that Prime Minister Modi ji that this needs to be done, nobody will listen to you, right? So you should have a very good sampling design, sampling frame. Then based on empirical methods, then only you can draw the conclusions. Then only the policymaker is going to listen to you. So that is where the data analysis is important. Data analysis needs sound knowledge of statistics plus your own subject plus the area in which you are working. For example, you are working on water economics, you should be very good at that aspect. And statistical software is only to help you to simplify the process and to save time. So all those statistical methods, sometimes IBM's CEO once said, it is garbage in and garbage out. So if you don't know what you are doing in software, the results will be basically useless. So you should have a sound knowledge of statistics first, then economics and the area of research, then only statistical software will help. But if you don't know statistical software, that can also be a very challenging aspect. So in this workshop, we will teach you one important statistical software, that is Stata. But why to learn Stata? So because there are so many alternative softwares available, starting from the simplest Microsoft Excel. You have R, you have SAS, you have SPSS, you have Stata. So what is the advantage of knowing Stata that will give you an edge over others? So one important aspect is that Stata is very popular among economists and other social science researchers in academia. It is not so popular in researchers who are into agriculture statistics or basic statistics. But for economists and other social science research, data is very widely used. So there is a network effect. For example, you want to collaborate with someone, some CG centers like IFPRI or IRI or ICRISAT, or you want to work with some foreign institutes or some other collaborators. So it is always beneficial to know Stata, because if you are using R and they are using Stata, it becomes very difficult to share the commands and other statistical things and command lines or scripts or whatever you have done. If they want to change something, then they have to instruct to you and then you have to change. But if everyone is using a similar software, it will be easy. So since most of the economics academia is using Stata, it is advantageous for you to learn Stata. Then econometrics is a very lively field, and the advances are very, very quick, which means the method that you have used just 4 months back will be outdated today. So every day, new methodologies, people are working on how to improve the estimation and all those things. So with this data, so as soon as a new methodology is released, Stata user written packages will also come, which means doing those analysis using Stata will be a lot easier. So very easy to learn as well as use. So if you use advanced statistical methods, which is up to date with the current trends in econometrics, as Usman remarked, it is easier for you to publish those papers as well. Next, another important advantage is that it makes data handling very easy. So for example, if you're using NSSO data, the data is collected from 35,000 households. Sometimes data is collected from 1 lakh individuals. And the data is not in ready to use format. You often need to create some new variables, create some combination of variables, and each statistical analysis require you to modify the variables. For example, sometimes you have to take logarithm, and sometimes you have to use only a part of data based on some condition. So The advantage with Stata is that it makes that job very much easier. So for example, if you have to spend like 15-20 days in Excel, if you want to do the thing, same thing can be done in Stata with one line command. Okay, so that is why it is beneficial to know Stata. And the most important part is reproducible research. For example, whenever you are working in team, a team doesn't mean that only once you join. Even when you're doing research for your MSc and PhD, you will work in team. There will be guide, there will be co-guide, there will be committee members and you. So reproducible research means you can share the data set and the command that you have used, and he can do it on his system and verify whether you have done correctly or not. That is what we call reproducible research. Okay, this is not only for your internal consumption that you can use within your team, but also when you communicate your research to a journal should ensure that you are doing correctly and you are not doing any malpractice, right? You are not manipulating the results that you are getting. So often they ask for the data set and the commands and the log file. So with Stata, it becomes easy, but with Excel and other things, it is a little bit difficult. But with R also, you can do this. With Stata also, you can do this. So these are the important advantages of using Stata. I forgot to mention the Stata community in the internet is very, very helpful. So if you are getting any problem, simply type it in Google. Someone else might have encountered the same problem that you are facing, and it will be already there in Google, and someone might have answered. If you're not getting the answer, you can also going to log into the Stata user community, pose your question, someone will come up with an answer. So that is also another advantage. And how do you learn Stata? So learning any software is akin to learning to walk. Nobody can teach you how to walk, but you will have to learn it by walking. You have to learn it by doing. So software is also you have to learn by doing. Then why we are here? So this workshop is just a catalyst to make things easy during initial period. For example, when you start using Stata, you will get frustrated. You don't know how where to type commands, where the results will come, how to save the results. So there will be a lot of frictions during the initial days, and there is a high probability that you will say, I don't want to do it, let's skip this, I will, Excel is better for me. But with practice, during some support during the initial stages of learning Stata, you can master it very easily. It doesn't take much time. I wish and I hope that 5 days will be enough for that. So you will need help, and we are here for the help. But one thing you always remember, most of the coding languages that we use are case sensitive. So Stata is also case sensitive, and in variable names, it cannot take spaces. For example, learning Stata, if it is a variable name, the Stata will consider learning as a variable, Stata as a variable. Small former, if you give space between small and former, Stata will recognize small as a variable, former as a variable. So you cannot give spaces in the variable names. With description you can give, but that you should remember. So how is this workshop planned, and what do you expect in this workshop? So today's class is exclusively for me to introduce you to the Stata software window. How does it look, and different file formats that are there in the Stata. It is just a kind of introductory session. I don't want to rush because I want all of you to benefit from this. Then we will explore basic Stata commands, data management, data cleaning, and basic statistical analysis. Then we will introduce you to handling large data sets with Stata, as ma'am told, be it NSSO different rounds, be it PLFS, be it ASI. So different data sets we will introduce and how to handle with Stata. But before that, you should be confident of using Stata. So that is the purpose of first 3 sessions. Please remember, we don't intend to explain the statistical concepts in this workshop. I will not go in detailing about what is regression, what is correlation, what is a probit or logit model. So first year master students might find it little bit difficult, but in due course of time, you will understand those statistical concepts as well. The focus or emphasis of this workshop is how to use this statistical software. That is the main focus, with the assumption that the statistics part you will take care of, because 5 days is never going to be enough if I start talking about statistics. And I don't think it needs to be said, but if you don't actively participate, you won't learn. So basically you will be wasting your own time with this. So I request you to actively participate and make use of these sessions. At the end of each session, there will be an exercise component of it. During most of the session, I will be doing the analysis and showing it to you. You can do it with me, or if you want to listen to me first and make notes, you can do that. The sessions are live streamed in YouTube. You can revisit and have a look at that also. But the exercise part is mandatory. So in the exercise part, I will give instruction on where to get the data, and based on that data, there will be a set of questions that you have to answer using Stata. And at the end of the session, a Google form will be shared with you. In that Google form, you have to upload the uh, assignments or exercise, whatever you can refer it as. So doing those exercises will only teach you the important part of data analysis with Stata. By listening, you cannot remember all the things, but when you do it once, when you get so many error messages, then you correct yourself, you will never forget. So please do actively participate and involve in all the discussions. So I hope you can enjoy. So just another time I want to repeat, software is just a tool for analysis. It is not a substitute for knowledge of the subject and knowledge of the statistics. That is important. With that, you need the expertise in Stata. So with that, I will stop sharing now. And now, those who have Stata, they can go to the program menu or the start menu and type Stata. So Stata should be visible in the list of programs. And please open the Stata window, and I will share the screen. We will not be doing any analysis right now, but I will be explaining about the Stata window now. I hope the window is visible to all of you. So there are different parts in this window. So let me explain each of them and what is the purpose of that. It is very important to understand this. Okay. So you can see here, just a second. Okay. So here the name of the window is written. So it is command window. Okay. Command window is that part of Stata where you will enter the commands. Commands is nothing but set of instruction for Stata, that what you want Stata to do, what analysis that you want Stata to do. That instruction you have to write here. There is a specific format for writing different commands that we will cover later, but this is the place where you will be entering the commands. Then this part you can see, it will display all the details of your Stata software, when it was purchased and all those things. And after that, there will be notes and all other things. This entire window is called result window. Whatever analysis that you do, the results will come here. That is why it is called as result window. Then you have a review window here. Okay. So this is called review window. So whatever commands that you type, those commands will be listed here one after the other. That is why it is called review. Review will help you to see which commands you have used in this particular session. And in the right side, there is another window which is called variables window. So since I have just opened Stata and currently there are no variables to list. Okay. Once you import the data set into Stata, all the variables that are there in your data set will be listed in this particular window. Then at the bottom of your screen, there is something called as properties, right? Here it is properties. In the properties, the variable names, all this, which format it is, all those things will be displayed. And below that, there will be something called as data. Okay, data. So these are the main windows. And if any one of these window is not visible in your Stata, once you open Stata, you see that there is no variable window which is being displayed. In the top menu, there is an option called window. Just here, there is an option called window. So if you click on the window and you can click on which is not displayed. For example, if properties window is not displayed, if you click on it, properties window will come. Okay. If variable window is not displayed, if you click on variable window, it should be displayed. Fine. So this is about Stata working space or Stata windows, you can say. So I will repeat. On your left hand side, there is review. Next to it, there is result. And to the right, there is a variable window. Downside, there is command window. And to the right, there is a properties window. So these are the different parts of Stata. Okay. Now, let us move on to importing the data. So if you want to work with Stata, you have to get the data set first, right? So data set, I have already shared with you the Excel file. Okay. I have already shared the Excel file with you. From that example one, you have to import. Okay. So what you have to do, go to file, then there is option to import, then Excel spreadsheet. I hope it is now visible to you. So first you have to go to file, then you have to go to import, okay, then Excel spreadsheet. Then once you click on Excel spreadsheet, you have to browse to a place where you have stored the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, I am using example one data. And when you click on import, so this kind of window will be visible to you. Okay, this kind of window will be visible to you. There are three sheets in the Excel data, correct, error 1 and error 2. I will be importing the correct data first. I will talk about the errors in the next thing. Then what you have to do is import first row as variable names. As you can see in the preview, the first row is mainly the labeling part. What is the age? What is the sex? It is actually nothing but the heading of the column. So whenever there is first row of the data set is the heading of the column, you have to click on import first row as variable names. You click on it, then it will show that this is all of this will go to top, and now you can say okay. Okay, so observe the things that have happened once I did this. First thing is, see in the command window, one command has come. Though I have not typed the command, I have used the file option, the menu option to import the data set. So first thing I have done, it is already entered in the review command. The command has run, that is showing in result window. And if you look at the variable window, different variables are now visible. Okay, see different variables now are visible. You can see different variables which have been imported. And if you scroll down in the properties window, so there are 176 variables in this data, and there are 209 rows, or this is a data of 209 farmers, and the data has 176 variables. Okay, so this is importing the data. But now you are seeing only the name of the variables, but you cannot see the data right now, right? So the data is not visible. So for visualizing the data, the command is browse. Okay, so I'm typing that browse command, okay, here in the command window. Okay, but instead of writing browse, Stata will also take shorthand. So if you just say br, it will understand that he is asking me to browse. So if you just click on it, see the data is now visible. So these are the variable names, right? These are the variable names, and this is the data, right? So you can see the entire data. Some are actually missing. Okay. So the entire data you can scroll down and you can see. Alternative way is to click here. So there are two options. This is called browse. If you click on this, the data will be visible, but you cannot edit the data. If you want to change any specific value, you will not be able to do it. But if you click on the next option, that is called the data editor, then you can also change the value of a particular row if you wish. But usually we just browse the data. You don't want to change the data unless it is an obvious error. Data manipulation is not a good thing to do. Okay, so this is one thing. But when you browse the data, you should observe one thing very important. So this data or this variable id, the color of display is in black, but when you look at enumerator, this is kind of reddish brown, right? Also, if you just scroll down, uh, see again, some of the variables, right? Some of the variables are in brown color. So see, irrigation also, it is in number, but it is in brown color, but area is in black color. Why is this difference in color when you browse the data set? So there comes the concept of string variable versus numeric variable. This is not a command. I'm just explaining the concept here. This is not a command. So the variables which are brown, they are actually called as string variable, and those who are in black are called as numeric variables. So whenever you use text, the data will be saved as string variable. So it is kind of labeling, it is kind of qualitative variable. But if the data is displayed in black text, it is a numeric variable. So it is very important that once you import the data, you have to browse and see if the variable is imported correctly. If it is name of the farmer, it is supposed to be in string format because it is not a numeric variable. It is a labeling, it is a name, it has to be in string. But if the area is a numeric variable, if it is imported in the form of string, then there is something wrong. With string variable, you cannot do any data analysis. So you should be very careful. Once you import the data, you have to browse and see. I will show how the errors come. So if you want to erase the data that you have imported, simply type the command clear. If you simply type clear and enter, so the data will be gone. There is no data right now. What I will do is now, uh, give me a second. I will open the Excel file for you. Okay. Okay. So Initially, what we did is we imported this particular sheet. The name of the sheet is correct. Okay. In correct sheet, what happened is first row is variable name. After that, all the details are there. All the data entry is there. But what we do now is we will import another sheet. The name of the title of the sheet is error 1. Okay. In error 1 also, the data is in same format. Okay, almost same format. Let us try and import. Okay, I am importing again. Import Excel spreadsheet, and then you have to browse and select the data example 1. You have to close the Excel sheet before importing, otherwise it will say the file is in use. Okay, then instead of using correct, I will use that file error. Okay, import first row as variable name. Okay, now I will browse the data. The command for browsing is br. Okay, br. If I enter the data, see the two variables or three variables. For example, take the case of experience, take the case of education, take the case of ration card. I hope you can see this. So here experience is a numeric variable, but still it has been imported as string. Education is a numeric variable, but still it has been imported as string. Ration card is a numeric variable, but still it has been imported as a string variable, right? So let us see how it affects which are the string variables? Experience and education, right? So let us say some, see, summary statistics I wanted to run. Summary statistics means mean, descriptive statistics, that kind of thing, but it says zero observation. Okay, then some zero observation. But if you browse, the data is there. Data is there. But why is the error? Because the data has been imported as string variable. But why did it import that particular variable as string, and why not age? Age has come correctly, but why experience has this particular issue? So if you tabulate, so what I did, I used a particular command. Don't worry about the command for now. I just say tabulate expenditure, sorry, experience. Tabulate means simple frequency table. Which variable I want to tabulate? The name of the variable is exp. You need not to type exp. If you go on the variable window and move the cursor on the variable exp, there is an arrow mark. I hope you can see the arrow mark here. If you just click on that arrow mark, that will automatically come into the command window. So what I did, I said tabulate exp. So if you see here, can you see here? In one of the places, the data entry operator has entered experience as nil. Instead of typing it as 0, he has written it as nil. So if in the entire column, any single observation is textual or non-numeric, instead of writing 0, nil, if instead of writing a particular value, if you write any text, then entire variable will become string variable. So be careful before, I mean, during the data entry itself, take care that in the numeric variable, no text is entered. Let us examine another variable. uh, for example, the ration card. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, it was entered 1 as above poverty line, 2 as below poverty line, 3 is Antyodaya card, something like that. But one particular variable, the data entry operator has entered it as BPL, that is again text. So if in any variable some text appears, it will be converted into string. So how do we enter the data then? The good practice for entering data is always go for coding. Coding means if he is APL, it is indicated as 1. If he is below poverty line, 2. If above poverty line, 3. If no ration card, 0. So before data collection itself, collect the data in the form of codes. Then it becomes easy. Then it becomes easier for you to analyze the data. So the message here is that once you import the data, browse the data set and see if the data is imported correctly or not. Okay, so the solution for you is correct the Excel sheet and import again. So you have to replace this BPL by the code. You have to replace this nil by 0. Then if you import, it will be correct. You can do it and see. Another most common error I want to show you. I will be importing another sheet now, but before that I will clear the data. File, again I will import Excel spreadsheet. Again I will browse the data, example 1, and here the sheet name is error 2. I will import error 2 data. See, the variable names itself has not come, which is a clear indication of something must be wrong. Let us see what is wrong. Browse, everything is wrong. Every data point that you can see is a string variable. Why is this? What is the error? So let us go back to the Excel sheet and see what is there in that particular sheet. Okay. I haven't shared, I think. Okay. So if you see the sheet error 2, what you can observe is the variable label or variable name is in row 2. So if the variable name is in row 2, then you cannot import that data into Stata. Either because here it is given as crop 1. Within that, what is the crop, what is the area, what is the production? Then you have given the details for crop 2. Then what is the area, what is the production, what is irrigation? Crop 3. Within that, so if you arrange the data like this, you cannot import the data into Stata easily. You can do it, but it takes a lot of time. And if you import directly, it will show you all those errors. So the good way of entering the data is like this, which means only in the first row variable name should be there. After that, you should not be using text data in numeric variable. If the data itself is text like enumerator name, data collection person name, that is fine. Or else in the numeric variable, you should not use the text data. And if you want to enter crop 1, crop 2, what you can do is crop 1, its code area underscore 1, which means area of crop 1, production of crop 1, irrigation source of crop 1. Then crop 2, area of that crop, production, irrigation, all those things. So you can arrange the data in such a way that only in the first row variable name is there, and from the second row the data starts. Okay. Fine. So I will clear the data. I will import the correct Excel sheet now. Just a second. Okay, import first row as variable name. Okay, so I will introduce now to 3 important data types. Okay, now See all the results that you have done some analysis right now, and all the results are there in this result window, right? So I have tabulated the variable experience. So in the results, it is showing 10 experience. There are 31 farmers, which is around 14%. Cumulative percentage is 14. This kind of analysis you have done. Okay. But this results, it will not be written into the file. Your file will not have all these results. In Excel, if you calculate mean, that mean will be there in the cell in which you have calculated. But here in Stata, the results will not be written onto the original file. You have to copy and paste the results in separate Word file or some Excel, and you have to keep. If I close this data now, you will lose all these results. It will not change the file. So that is one important aspect. Second, you have entered all the commands to do all this analysis. Even importing, I have not written command, I have used menu, but the corresponding command is recorded here. I have written couple of commands here. For example, summary of variable experience, summary of the variable ration card, tabulate the variable experience, tabulate the variable ration card. Some of the commands that I have written, but that commands will also not be saved. So there are Stata formats which will help us to save these commands so that either we can share it to some other person, or if you want to repeat the analysis by changing the variable names, if you have stored these commands, then it will be a matter of 1 second. But you will not be remembering. The next time you open Stata, you don't remember the commands, then again you have to type. To prevent that, there are two file formats. One is do file and another one is log file. Okay, let me show what is a do file first. So in the menu, I think you can see this particular icon here. That is a paper and pen, right? That is the indicator for do file. Just click on, if you move the cursor, it will say new do file editor. Just click on it and new do file will be opening. So the purpose of do file is just to save all the commands that you have used in the analysis. So in the review command, there are now 16 different commands that I have used. Just select all those by pressing control. If you keep on pressing control, you can select all those commands, right? So now I'm selecting the important commands that I have used. Then simply say copy and then go to the do file. Okay. So now all the files are, all the commands that you have written are saved in this do file. So it becomes easier for you to repeat the analysis next time, or to show someone. For example, you have used some regression in your research and your friend asks, how did you do that? So instead of explaining him that I went here, I clicked here, I went this, I did this, just share him the do file. Do file will indicate what variables you have used, what commands you have used, in which order you have used those commands. So it will be a lot easier for you to store the results. I have the do files from my 2016 study. I don't remember what I have done in 2016, but if you have a do file, it's easier for you to remember what you have done, because data codes are actually confusing sometimes. And if you are using it, you will always need the help of Google to understand some commands. So once you write a good do file, it is forever. You can always refer back. In do file, one thing you should remember, if you start any line with star mark, it indicates data that it is a title. You can write whatever you want just for your own purpose. For example, data workshop session 1. So this is for your reference, and end it with star mark asterisk. So it will be considered as title. Stata will recognize it as title, not a command. Okay. So from this do file, how to do analysis? For example, you want to run these two commands. Simply, if you move the cursor here, there is an option that execute file. So this option is called execute. In the do file, if you click a particular command and simply say execute, come back here, see, I have not done anything. I have just said execute. So it has executed all the commands starting from here. I have just said some ration card, tabulate experience, and tabulate ration card. So all this analysis is done without me typing any command. How did I do it? I had those commands in the do file. I simply said execute those. Alternatively, you can copy it and you can paste it here and then you can run. Again, the same command will run. So this is do file. The best part is, I mean, the compulsory thing that you should do is whatever analysis that you do in Stata, always maintain a do file for it. Why you want to write a do file? Because once you close the window, all these things will be gone. But if you have written it in a do file and then save it, then it will be there. Okay, it will be there. Another important Stata file format is in do file, only the commands are saved, not the results. Some ration card is a command which indicates, which instructs data to get the summary value of ration card or summarize the data. But this table will not be saved, right? This table, every time you have to copy it into Excel and store it, which becomes cumbersome. So alternatively, what you can do is automatically ask Stata to record all your activities. So that we do by using a file name called log file. What is the name of the file? Log file. Log. What do you mean by log? Log is entry of everything. So log file will be used for entering all the things. So what is the command for that? Log using, okay. So the name of the command is log log space using. Only this part is the command, okay, followed by any name. You need not to type Stata exercise. You can type Stata, you can type your own name, you can type agriculture economics, whatever you want to type, you can type. If you click on this, click enter, then you will get this message. Okay. The command that you have used is log using Stata underscore exercise. So what did Stata do? A log file has been started in this directory, which means in my OneDrive documents, Stata exercise, a file name has been opened and what is the date. Okay. After you opened a log file, whatever analysis that you do, everything will be saved in the log file. Let me show you. I will simply use some commands. Don't worry which commands I'm using. Okay, some command I have used, and at the end of using that command, you have to close your log file. The command for closing the log file is log close. Okay, log close. In the first step, what we did, we opened a log file, then we did some analysis, and at the end of it, we are closing the log file. Okay, now you can go to that particular uh, what you can say, particular destination, okay, particular destination or particular path, then you can see the file there. Let me show you if possible. Give me a second. Is this visible to you, the log file? So in the log file, uh, first it gives you the date. Okay, give me a second. Okay, during the first part, the date and everything is visible. After that, the command is visible. After the command, all the results is also recorded. Then again, the next command that you have given is given. After that, the results of that particular command is given. Then next command, next result. So all the things
The
are
log file is
recorded.
not visible, sir.
Okay, then I will stop sharing. I will share again. Uh, is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So here you can see that first it will give you the command, then it will give you the result, then the second command that I have entered and the result of that, then third command and the result of that. Okay. So both commands as well as the result of the analysis that you have done, both are automatically recorded in the log file. Okay. So that is where you use the log file. Uh, okay. Okay. So the summary of the session is whenever you start working on Stata, always start your session with log using any file name of your choice. Okay. Log using exercise 1. Suppose you start to do exercise 1. Log using exercise 1. Then open a do file and store all the results. Okay, whatever exercise I will give, you will start doing in that. And once you finish the analysis, don't forget to close the log. Close the log by log close. Okay, so that is what I wanted to cover in the today's session. But just one more additional thing which will help you to do the exercise part. The best part in Stata is accessing the help menu. Help menu is very easily accessible in Stata. In other softwares, what usually happens is that there will be a PDF document, and in that PDF document, you have to search what you want. But in Stata, it is inbuilt. It is you can write a command help. Okay, the name of the command is help space. For example, you want help on the command summarize. If you click on help summarize, so I will show the, yeah, the name of the command is help summarize. If you click enter help summarize, then a separate window will open with all the necessary information. So if you click on view complete PDF manual entry, entire manual of Stata will be visible to you. If you just want to understand how to do summarize, everything regarding the particular command will be given here. Just if you scroll down, the first thing is you can see is sys use auto. I hope you can see the sys use auto. So if you type that command in the Stata command window, I'm just copying the content from the help menu. Sys use auto is the first command given in the example section. So if you run that command sys use auto, you can see that automatically Stata has downloaded a new data set, right? In the right side, you can see that it has automatically downloaded a inbuilt data set. So sys use is a command for system use. There are set of 10 to 15 Stata files which are already inbuilt in Stata, which you can use to understand those commands. Once you set sysuse auto, in the help menu, it has given summarize mpg wait. Just copy those command and try to run those command in the Stata. Once what you did, sysuse auto, if you have given in Stata, it has automatically downloaded the data set. Now, what you are doing is summarize MPG weight. If you click on it, so the results has come. So MPG is a variable. So what is the name of variable? What is it? If you see the variable window, it is mileage. So there are 74 observation. Average mileage is 21 miles per whatever it is, and standard deviation is this much, minimum is this, maximum is this. Then weight, on an average 3000 weight is measured in lbs pounds, so standard deviation is this much. So from the help menu you can copy different commands and then execute those commands using their own data sets, not your data set, so that you can understand it better. Okay. So this is how you can use the Stata help menu. So if you want to have more information on regression, you need not to type help in full. You can simply say H space regression. So entire information on how to do regression in Stata. If you just scroll down to examples, again, they are using sysuse auto data and they are running a set of regressions, right? So this is the easiest way to learn Stata. Alternate way is, if you don't know what to search, then you can say search regression. Okay, search regression. Then again another window will appear, okay, with all the listings of regression. So help regarding regression, regression post estimation, regression plots, all those things will be visible. So the easiest way to learn Stata is by using help menu as well as search. So help and search. So your first exercise that Nitya ma'am will be sharing with you after the session is to explore help menu of some of the most commonly used Stata commands. And while doing that analysis which is given in the help menu, I want you to use log file as well as do file. Okay. So what you are supposed to do in the assignment, there will be set of questions which will be given to you. What you have to do is explore the help option within Stata, and whatever is given in the example, you run those commands, but save those results in the form of log file and a do